Hello, this is Brian Rowe doing a video today on Luke Cage chess, the Blackmar-Diemer Gambit, and the Halosar trap. Luke Cage, as you probably already know, is one of my absolute favorite series out there. Netflix did a wonderful job. I've got a whole review on it. One of the things that I really like about Luke Cage in particular is the amount of chess that is covered in Luke Cage. Let's look at this scene, which comes really early on in the first episode.
It's a woman that fine with a briefcase gonna throw it at a brother with a broom.
That's what you don't get, youngin'. Either you have it or you don't.
Oh, I know I got it.
Now this scene has several cool things going for it. Number one, it's got an awesome classic chess set. It's got an old school chess clock, which makes it more serious right there. And it's got a cool character who is named after Bobby Fischer, the most famous U.S. world chess champion. Really interesting personality who grew up in the New York area and played in New York. A lot of stuff going on right there at the very beginning of Luke Cage. And there are lots of scenes like this spread all the way through Luke Cage. I'm going to show you 3 or 4 little scenes today, but that is a very small amount of the chess that is in Luke Cage. But before we go too far, there's one minor thing that really bugs me, and pause for a second and see if you can figure out what it is, what their minor mistake was in this first clip that they fix in clips later. It is, in that opening scene, they screwed up how they set up the chessboard. They have a beautiful chessboard, they have a beautiful chess set, but they put the white squares on the wrong side. If you look at the lower left-hand corner, doesn't matter if you're on black or white side, that should be a black square. And on the right side should be a white square. So the mnemonic that I give new students is white on right, and queen takes her own color. It makes it really easy to make sure that you've got the chessboard set up correctly. Given some of the cool chess stuff that they've done here, a little bit sad that they got the board backwards at the beginning, but they fix it later in the series, and that's one of the big things to watch out for when you are using chess as a reference in things. Getting it right is really easy. Contact a local strong chess player, spend a little bit of time talking to them, and they can definitely help you set it up correctly. Several movies even have very historic, important, interesting positions in them, and they work as wonderful Easter eggs to reach out to this whole gaming community that will just love to see it done correctly in your films. The next one that I have to share here just typifies how I feel after I have blundered away my queen or missed a mate in one in a speed chess game. I know that I'm not the only one who feels this way. Let's move on to another scene, though, where a cool gambit is mentioned.
It's like everybody in Harlem looking for you after that building thing.
I'm strictly about Pop's memorial today.
Seating everyone at this thing is going to be the toughest move I've mastered since the Blackmar-Diemer Gambit. I mean, I got to put Estelle up front because she's been with him the longest, at least as far as the neighborhood knows. Keep her far away as hell from Charlene. She's real sly. Moves like a bishop on the diagonal at all times. And they both have to steer clear of Candy, who they both think is his cousin. Candy? She rubs everyone the wrong way, but Pop, who she rubs the right way every Tuesday and Thursday at 9:45.
Looks like Shafter had nothing on Henry Hunter. I was a Mac.
In that last scene, there was a reference to the Blackmar-Diemer Gambit, which is a very interesting, fun gambit. It is the type of gambit that white plays, gives up some material for a hack and slash attack very, very early on. And it's got some incredible traps in it that you should be aware of. I'm going to go over one of those traps today and give you a very, very short game to look at and a little bit of analysis behind what's going on in that game and a little bit of a way of how to avoid those issues. So this gambit is a queen pawn opening where white strikes back at the center very, very quickly, offering one or more pawns in order to get white's pieces out. If black accepts the gambit, grabbing a pawn or two, the game turns incredibly tactical very, very quickly, and games can end really, really fast. F3 being one of those lines that is on the super aggressive side. It is actually a very difficult position for new players to play against, but once you learn how to develop your pieces, it can be played against successfully. Bringing the queen out instead of the knight here is very risky, but it sets a trap. It gives up the central pawn here. If black jumps in and grabs that central pawn, white is going to get a lot of development for those two pawns that have been given up, and a very strong opportunity for an attack here. If you look at the position as it develops, white is taking the opportunity here to attack the centralized queen, getting free moves and the opportunity to attack back. Queen b4 is a mistake here. It has good intentions of going after a pawn, but black is so far behind in development that his goal should really be to try to exchange pieces and get into an endgame where those two extra pawns are going to matter. The longer the queens are on the board, the better opportunity that white has to crash through with an attack. In this position, white sets a trap by castling, and that is by putting the queen and the rook on the same diagonal here. Skewer, where you're going to lose either the queen or the rook for a less valuable piece, the bishop, which is exactly what happens here in this game. Black jumps out, goes after that queen, and then white is actually extremely happy here because white is so far ahead in development and has so many pieces pointing at the black king, and who is still in the center, that white is going to be able to capitalize on that. Take a minute here, pause, see if you can find out what move should be played here. The best and only move here for white to win, by far, is knight b5, offering to give up the queen entirely. If black is greedy, grabs the queen, the game ends instantaneously with a checkmate in the middle of the board, the knight going to c7 attacking the king, and the rook on d1 controlling the open file. So since the queen can't be taken, let's look quickly at a few alternatives here where black tries to hold on in this position. Knight a6 is a solid attempt protecting c7, but now the white queen is able to crash through. And there's no really good way to defend both that knight now on a6, the rook on a8, and the king who's stuck in the middle of the board. Rook c8 fails miserably in this position as all of white's pieces come crashing through. Losing the queen is the only way to keep black from getting checkmated instantaneously. And at this point, black can resign because they're down so much material and still stuck in the center of the board with pieces hanging. Another attempt here to develop and hold the position is knight b d7, but then once again the queen comes crashing through. If the rook tries to protect itself and attack the queen continues to crash through, sacrificing herself to open up the d file and allow the knight to crash through on c7. One last line to look at here: if black tries to make room for his king to escape through e5, knight c7 still continues to crash through, and queen takes b7 is an incredible move here because it's giving up the queen, but if the queen is taken, bishop c5 mates. And if black plays anything else, like queen a5, trying to cover the c5 square and to prevent the mate and keep their queen, the discovery check, knight a8, picks up a piece, And Black's king is still woefully stuck in the center of the board, while white is continuing to mount pressure in the position. Black's king is not long for this world. This is the exact type of position you want out of a gambit like this. A crushing attack with your opponent's king stuck in the middle of the board. I hope you enjoyed learning more about the Blackmar-Diemer Gambit, and the game that we were looking at was this 11-move miniature. A lot of fun there. For more chess videos, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to my sponsor, chess.com. To play me at chess, head over to chess.com, create an account. I hope to see you there. And until next time, choose your moves wisely.
Hey, I just fell through to see my man Bobby Fishing to play some chess.
Well, you need to fall your ass back downtown. Because if I catch you around here again, it's gonna be checkmate.